Hello, this is Victor. I'm here with a new Paint and Talk, and this time I want to talk about Ninth Age and my impression and my thinking after playing a game, but also, after being how the Ninth Age is evolving and what is going on. And I want to do a comparison to another game that was driven by community for a long time until Games Workshop have relaunch, that was is Blood Bowl. So yesterday I played for first time Ninth Age. Okay, I have to be first of all, I used to play fantasy, Warhammer Fantasy before. Not too much. I never been a super big fan of Warhammer Fantasy. I always have more preference. I had more preference for Warhammer 40k than Warhammer Fantasy in the past. So when they stopped Warhammer Fantasy, was a little bit shocked, right? And then at the beginning of Age of Sigmar, I really like it to try, because for me was what I was more on the type of game that I like, that is with less formations, not blocks, and more how it's called, loose squads, no? Because I always like the miniatures from Games Workshop in Warhammer Fantasy. I like a lot some of the miniatures, especially the knights. I like a lot Bretonia, and I like a lot some of the monsters. I like that. So there is a lot of armies that I like from aesthetical point of view. The thing that was not appealing to me too much was the block, that you have to put units in block. And at the end, the other thing that was not appealing to me too much at the end was the big number of miniatures that you need to do some of the units. One of my armies is Skaven, so the Skavens have a lot of miniatures in some of the units. Okay, but yeah, and then there was a change. I keep an eye always on the Ninth Age, but I did not play it, and I was one of the things that was keeping me out of Ninth Age and make me not to play too much is because I like to have a physical rule book, and I like to have real books. But yeah, at the end I think, okay, let's give a try, to Ninth Age. And yesterday I give it a try, and my first impression is, well, I play without knowing without reading any rule of Ninth Age. I play based on my knowledge on 8th edition, and asking to my friend that was explaining me how to play Ninth Age, what is going on, how everything works, and what are the difference between Ninth Age and 8th edition, Warhammer Fantasy 8th edition. And I realized, and I'm recording this October 2017, that to be fair, for me, Ninth Age is like playing Warhammer Fantasy. And then it made me think, if it's so close to Warhammer Fantasy, why we end up making a completely new game, because one of the things that it's really confusing is that they have changed the name of all the units that we know for a long time. I understood that if you play for long, you get used to that, but yeah, it's an additional effort that you have to do there. But then I was thinking, why they wanted to do a complete new rule set, right? Why when most of the rules are almost the same, if not the same, than Warhammer Fantasy? Of course, they change some of the rules. They add more. They add the bases size. They add some things, but in essential, it's Warhammer Fantasy with modified points. Most of the points are more of the things are costing the double that used to cost on Warhammer Fantasy. It's another also interesting thing why we used to play 2,500 points, and now we have to play 4,500 points, so it's more or less the same miniatures. But my question is, if I compare this to Blood Bowl, in Blood Bowl they didn't never create, I don't know, the new Age of Bowl or something like that. They never create a new Blood Bowl. They keep using the name Blood Bowl. They were playing Blood Bowl, and they were creating teams, and they just changed the points. But yeah, of course the rules were a little bit in Blood Bowl can be a little bit uh, more basic sometimes, although it's quite a complex game. There is also quite some rules, but yeah, they did not create a, a community-driven game with a different name to play Blood Bowl. They just keep the name and they just were releasing teams and points and and changing the things that were not working well, and that's all. But in Warhammer Fantasy, we decided to completely reboot the game, and I was thinking, why to do that? Why not to keep 8th edition, make like a com book to add all like a FAQ, from Games Workshop? You can do that, because at the end nobody can tell you you cannot play 8th edition, no, right? If you look at tournament, nobody can tell you that you are vulnerating IP, because on top Games Workshop is promoting the rule houses, no, the house rules. So I was thinking, okay, you can create your house rules and you can add your modifications on the basic rule book, and yeah, and maybe if there is a unit is too strong, or you think that it's completely overpowered, work on the units that are overpowered, or work on the units that are underpowered, and from there build up, and you can create like comms or comments on the actual army books. I guess the problem is in future, if you don't create army books, can be difficult for the people to find army books, because it's but at the end, what we do 9th Age, we change a lot of names, we try to change a lot of we create a complete rule book, we put a lot of work that is to create, and I'm really amazed on all the work put there at the end to play the same game, because we end up playing the same game. And they had the same issues, and I don't think we never be able to eliminate the issue of the balance. When a game is so complex like Warhammer Fantasy or the 9th Age, I don't think you will ever find a way to balance everything. If you make the infantry too strong, then the army is based on the cavalry, like the Bretonnians or the Knights of Aquitaine, or Kingdom of Aquitaine, sorry, then are underpowered. If you make the cavalry strong, then these guys are too strong, because they are extreme armies. If the shooting is useless, then the armies that suffer a lot and they don't work. If the shooting, and it's difficult because it's very easy, and it's very difficult to eliminate all the potential combinations that you can do. You can limit it, because at the end there's a point. If you start eliminating the balance, you can end up that all the armies looks almost the same. So what is difficult is to keep and again balance, and at the same time keep the flavor of each army. And this is the difficult part. And then the last point I'm wondering is, I don't see how 9th Age can have new players. Because I was looking at the table yesterday and I saw that I have the feeling 9th Age is designed to play 4,500 points, right? But if I look at the table we had yesterday, how many miniatures we have on the table, it's a big amount of miniatures, and this is a big barrier. So we have seen Games Workshop is moving in the opposite direction, try to move to smaller games like Shakespeare, like Skirmish, in a way to be able to make the game more accessible to new people. But when you look at the 9th Age, it's really focused on the people that was playing Warhammer Fantasy. And this is a problem, because if you don't have a way to bring new people to the game, the community will start shrinking, because there is a natural, naturally, you cannot keep 100% of your starting base, right? There will be people that will leave the game for different reasons, because they get upset, because they don't play anymore war games, because they move to a different country, I don't know, because they get married, because they have children and they don't have time anymore. So you have a big reason, a lot of reasons why a person can stop playing a game, right? So to compensate all this, even if you don't have bleeding because of the game, but you can have bleeding because the people have have a life out of the wargaming, right? So people get married, people have children, people move country, they change job, maybe they don't have time anymore. So there is or they don't have money to go to the tournaments. There are several reasons to stop playing a game. So if you don't have a way to get new people, what this meaning is that the community will shrink and shrink and shrink until it's really very small. So, and I think Ninth Age will suffer of that. So, especially if in the big conventions they are not interested anymore and you cannot make publicity of the game, because you need to have a type of marketing, a way to make publicity to show other people the game, and yeah, and this and at the end, most of the games are not moving to ROM bases. So even if you have a collection from Age of Sigmar, it will be very difficult for people to jump from Age of Sigmar, for example, to the Ninth Age, because you have different bases, unless we invent a way to put ROM bases in the Ninth Age. So these are just thoughts, thinking, after playing yesterday Ninth Age, and also not just that, I was thinking about what is the future for this game, because to be fair, I have 3 armies that I can play on Ninth Age. I have the Bretonnians, I have an Skaven, and I have my Dogs of War that I can use them as the Empire. Because I can, Ninth Age, then there is not what you see is what you have, because it's more difficult, no? Because there is not really a miniature, a guidance on the type of miniatures that you can use, but there is not like a company that is telling you, for this knight you should use these miniatures, for this troop you should, no, it's completely free, and it's quite interesting because this opens the freedom of people to make really different armies, but on the other side can be confusing for new people, because my Bretonnian army, or I have to say my Kingdom of Equited army, can be extremely different from another person that is collecting from a different company. So yeah, these 2 questions on the table: why all this effort to make new books, all this type of stuff, and not to make sorry, to make more like a FAQ, to twist the old rulebook. I guess the problem is, if you just work on the raw rulebook, yeah, the people that is not that does not have the rulebook will have a problem to have the complete rules in the future. I guess this is the only reason why to make a complete rule set. But how Blood Bowl was doing when Games Workshop was not supporting, because the Blood Bowl community was surviving and they did not change the name. They did not create, I don't know how to call it, if it was Blood Bowl, they did not create the Dungeon Bowl, they just played Blood Bowl, and the people keep saying Blood Bowl. So yeah, these are my thoughts. Please let me know what do you think, and let me know, yeah, I'm interested, what are the plans from the Ninth Age to be able to have new players, because without new players the community will get smaller and smaller. That's all for now. Okay, just some thoughts after about Ninth Age, and yeah, looking forward to see your comments, opinions, and give a like if you have liked this video. That's all for now. As usual, thanks a lot for watching, and see you again later. Bye.